trouble too. Super Ted looking to finally pick up a Super Series title up against Ross Montgomery, the 62-year-old from Glasgow. 5-time weekly finalist here, but the boss picked up his biggest title to date 3 weeks ago as he claimed the crown at the Circus Tavern and lifted the World Seniors Championship. He beat Graham Usher by 5-1 to win that particular title and to claim his first world crown after all those tumultuous years at the lakeside.
First leg, Ted to throw first.
But now he can forever have that star on his shirt. Ted Evetts has got a star of his own on his shirt. He won the World Youth Championship back in 2021. But I suppose he's looking for that real big success in the seniors game, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's a fair statement. He's had good signs, hasn't he? But not really put it all together in a way that's going to be his moment as of yet. But I've said it already, I'll say it again. I think what we're seeing is Ted Evetts version 1, and when we get Ted Evetts version 2, I think it's going to be a much better version. I think his second wave is going to be more successful than the first. And we do see this, not with too many players, but, you know, you think about players like Darren Webster, who we've seen here at the Super Series, on his second go-around, significantly better than the first.
You can make an argument that Nathan Aspinall is an example of a player that dropped off tour and then came back on, was a better version of himself.
A very fine modern example, yes. Connor Scott, just last year, dropped off the tour, now in the world's top 64.
100. And
on possibly the verge of a match play place if he can have a good start to the year. Evetts, with a good start to this match, he's got 6-1, 6-1, so he's not even going to contemplate the proposition of the bullseye.
99.
He is going to return for 62 to take out the opening leg.
$58. Tedrukar, 62.
So Evetts here looking at 62. And looking at double top to take out the opening leg.
42.
Would have been for 15 darts. Would have been a real solid start. Montgomery needs a rip roarer. Another. Double 10. The double. He won the World Seniors title on.
130.
He cannot find this time.
20.
Up for fives. Well, this is a leg that Ted Evetts was in cruise control of, and it is one that he may well let slip. It's double 2.
8.
Doesn't go, and so Evetts comes back for more. I suppose it's double trouble by name and double trouble by nature. But Evetts eventually hits the double 5 to take a 1-0 lead.
Second leg, Ross.
Well, welcome along to viewers and friends watching us around the world on Pluto TV. If you haven't done so already, download the Pluto TV app. You can download it to your smart TV, your smartphone, your smart device via your applicable app store. Anywhere around the world which holds Pluto TV, or you can get the app from. It's free to download, it's free to stream. Pluto TV, stream now, pay never, and on top of the live darts, you can get 24 hours worth of darts content 7 days a week.
$140. $100. $64. $100.
141 left for Ted after just 9 darts in this leg.
97. Ted Car 141. $65. Ross Car 140.
Well, 140 here for Ross. We had a go at it in the last leg, but didn't get it there. And so Evetts will be back for 76 to break the
60.
throw and open up
Car
a
76.
2-0 lead in this contest. It's double top,
56.
but it's not a break chance.
Car 80.
But Montgomery may just get 1 dart at the end of this combination. Well, I'll tell you what, that was precarious.
40. Ted
No, he
Car
couldn't
20.
find the intended target. Evetts has needed a couple of visits to get legs 1 in this game.
Game show in the
And he
second leg.
takes full
Ted
advantage of the second opportunity he gets there. 2-0 to Ted.
Third
We said
leg,
before
Ted
this
to
game,
throw
didn't we? It was a
first.
vital
on.
game for Ted Evetts after losing his opening game. He's then got to sit and watch everybody play a round of fixtures because he'll be the first player to play 2 matches. He was under it coming into this game if he's got hopes of qualifying
40.
for Saturday night. And he's producing potentially a decent scoreline win as well, which going into tonight, you remember there was only 5 legs separating top to bottom. That means if you can pick up a big win,
60.
a 3-0 from somewhere, it's going to help you out. Just think about this afternoon. Averages decided who went through because we couldn't split them by any other metric.
58.
And who's to say there's still a possibility every player can finish on 8 points. And in fact, Ted Evetts winning this game actually helps that particular scenario. It could be an averages thing, and it may not be to
140.
it may not be to win the group. It may be to separate who goes through. You just never know. But you never know. You could have 2 positions where it's decided on averages. You could have a 3-way tie on averages.
96.
I might be asking a lot of our wonderful production team. But is there a way that all the players can finish on the same points and the same legs difference?
140.
Well, surely it'd just be the same results as last night in reverse and everyone would be back to level.
140. Russell Car 161.
Well, that can't happen because of the last few results of
97.
last night.
Ted Car 167.
Evetts 167 for a 3-0 win.
$40. Russell Car 64.
To keep the game going, it's going to be 1 dart in his hand. And that dart is going to be a double top. And
Game show
that
on the
dart
third
is
leg,
found.
Ross
Montgomery gets the break, but importantly, he keeps himself in the contest.
Fourth leg Ross to throw first. Game on.
And Ted Evetts will know as much as anybody in
120.
this double trouble format how precarious a 2-love lead in a game can be.
$32.
You know more than anybody that from 2-0 up you can have a cataclysmic collapse.
$140.
And Russ Montgomery is just beginning to sail closer to the Evetts ship.
140. $125. 140. Ross your car 160.
Nice recovery there with the last start for Ted. You could see he didn't like dart number 2. Wasn't happy with how it came out of the hand. Just came out a little bit early.
80.
It was the early part of the game that was all about Ted Evetts, but you feel it may be an extended game very shortly.
$100.
Well, that's a big
Ross your
last
car
start.
36.
But is it going to mean anything at all? 2 9s. Inside. And so Evetts may get just the one
28.
dart at the ball,
Ross
but
your
he's
car
got a chance to
89.
win this game nonetheless. $20 and the bull. Bullseye. A steely-eyed
Game shown the
focus
match, Ted
and a
Evetts.
bullseye hit with sheer precision. And Ted Evetts is on the board this evening. He gets the better of Ross Montgomery by 3 legs to 1 to claim his first success of the night. Coming up after the break, Andreas Harrison against Robert Thornton. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes. Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receiving the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Luke Lidlow! Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where we are 3 games down on this Friday night before the break. Ted Evetts got the better of Ross Montgomery by 3 legs to 1. We know half the field for tomorrow evening's finale. Leonard Gates winning Group A We thought Group C was going to be a hegemonious duopoly between Neil Duff and Steve Beaton, but in fact, Beaton only managed to get over the line by the averages of the two players following the end of the 10 matches. Group B, well, it's an open field for interpretation. At the table at the beginning of the night, Evetts, West and Thornton on 6, Harrison and Montgomery currently on 4. And it is Andreas Harrison and Robert Thornton that go and meet in this next match. And so, it means if Harrison wins this game and Montgomery wins the next, well, forget it. I don't know what a five-opoly is, but it would most certainly be that in terms of the table, because there'd be no way of splitting the players. It would be as you were at the start. What do you expect from this one, Matt?
I would like to say I agree or disagree with your analogy, but I didn't quite
First flag,
understand
Andreas
it.
to throw first.
Right. Okay. Would you like a quick English lesson
Come
at
on.
11 o'clock at night?
I think you may need to give one for our viewers as well, because I don't know if they've got a clue what you're on about.
So you know the game Monopoly? So Monopoly
120.
is basically one person dominated. Duopoly means two people or things dominating. Hegemony means domination.
82. $180. $93. $125.
Well, this is some start for Andreas Harrison. You could say a hegemonious start to this game from Andreas Harrison. Leaving himself
58.
76 after
Andreas, your card,
9.
76.
Double 8 on 11 data.
Each on the
Oh,
first leg,
yes!
Andreas Harrison.
Now that's how you start a game. 11 data,
Second leg, Robert
straight
is
out the
first.
traps.
Game on.
Andreas Harrison laying down an instantaneous gauntlet.
36.
Well, this is what Robert Thornton's been doing to other people, isn't it? And now Andreas Harrison dishing some back to him. Saying anything you can do. And Andreas Harrison is the
40.
favourite to win this group. He was the favourite before the off. He was the favourite before the off today. Odds compilers not losing faith
80.
in the man they call Dirty.
$43. $83. $45.
Well, it was an incredible start, wasn't it, from Andreas Harrison? But leg two, been nothing of the like.
52.
Off with a 40, 43, 45.
Is this where we say no two legs are the same?
Absolutely.
100.
No two legs the same, no game the same. It's not a game of top trumps, is it? It's a sporting activity.
100.
And we know that Andreas can win games in different ways. He can be spellbinding, he can average 118 at times, but sometimes if he has to get involved in the rough and tumble of
95.
battle, he will do
Robert
exactly
Carr,
that.
150.
Thornton 150. And he's got 6 from this point to equalise this game up.
55. $96. Robert Carr, 95.
And the bullseye route. And so he's going to get it down at tops.
75.
Just below.
Andreas Carr, 82.
And the frail of the arm in the air tells you exactly what Robert thought about that one. Now, the only problem Andreas has got is what can he see of the ball?
57.
Well, it's close
Robert Carr,
enough.
20. Getting shot on the second leg, Robert
Thornton
Thornton.
has full view of the double 10 and has equalised this game
Third
up.
leg,
It's one
Andreas
apiece
to throw
between the pair.
first. Game on.
Talk about two different types of holder throw. Andreas Harrison, excellent the opening leg. Robert Thornton holds in 22 darts. And that's just a
60.
little bit of inconsistency that comes not from the players. These players are two very consistent players. They've proven it over the years. It's the format.
80.
In and out all the time. The extra concentration that needs to come from it is tiring. Look at Steve Beaton this afternoon. It's one of the first things he needed to say, how tiring it was for him these past few days.
I don't think he would have felt it at the time, but I think the fact he's come through Group C, the fact he's now got a whole day to get ready for
140.
tomorrow, I think in retrospect might actually be a help to him.
140.
I mean, despite the craziness of this game in terms of legs being won in different universe in terms of the darts needed,
57.
Andreas still maintaining a 95 average. But again, because it is a more truncated format this week, one good leg really can bolster the average, but then one really bad leg can
140.
provide a damning effect. But on for potential 13 here.
94. Andreas your car 40.
Andreas Harrison seems amazing on his darts, doesn't he? When he's throwing first,
Getting
no
shot on the
problems.
third
A
leg,
13
Andreas
darter
Harrison.
there from Andreas Harrison. And essentially, it's Robert Thornton who needs to
leg,
find the
Robert is
break. So if
first.
Andreas Harrison
Game
can
on.
keep that pattern of play going, he is going to move to the top of the table on legs difference.
No score. No score. No score. $100.
Both players up and away.
80. $140. $100. $66. $100. $123.
Harrison closing in on the match here. 72 points. It's been a really good performance this from
100. Andreas
Andreas,
Yukar,
average in
72.
excess of 95 and on the cusp of rounding it off here. And he's going to get two darts in his hand, a double 18, his favourite double on the board.
Getting shot on the match.
And it's a
Andreas
double
Harrison.
which gives him a 3-1 win against Robert Thornton. This group is one of the craziest groups we've ever had here. Because if Ross Montgomery beats Steve West after the break, then all 5 players will be on 6 points. All level pegging at the halfway stage of the night. Do join us after the break.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. 32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
require
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Got
Couldn't
it,
get the
gets
job
it.
done.
Got it, the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Hello, welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where at the end of this game, all the players could be landlocked on 6 points once again, and we could find ourselves in a darting purgatory where nobody knows where anybody's going to be going. That is how the table looks. Let's get into game 5, and it is Ross Montgomery and Steve West that tow the Oki. So for that situation to happen, as you saw there, Montgomery has to beat West. Steve beat Andreas Harrison by 3 legs to 2 in the opening game of his night, whilst Ross Montgomery lost out by 3 legs to 1. And it was a decent display as well against Ted Evetts. Andreas Harrison beat Robert Thornton by a 3 legs to 1 scoreline prior to the break to ensure that all 4 games have gone on throw, and gives us the possibility of there being that tie of every single player being on 6 points for the
leg, Ross
halfway
to throw
stage,
first.
and still the never seen
Game
before
on.
scenario where all 5 players finish the group on the same amount of points. Montgomery straight up and running.
65.
Well, we couldn't split them after a day's action. 50%, and it was all
36.
still the same. We've got that chance now, haven't we? After 75% of the matches being played, they will still all be on the same points. That's incredible.
It's absolutely staggering.
56.
I can't think of any time this has ever
100.
happened.
I can remember one time it got close, and there was a game between Lee Budgeon and Fallon Sherrick, where I believe I cannot remember which way the result went. But if one result,
140.
so one of the players at the bottom of the table, if they won, they would have been top of the group, and all the players would have been equal. And if it
100.
went the other way, then somebody would be on on 8 points, and there'd be a few players on 8, and then one on 6.
I remember it well. The actual sort of key story of it was, I believe, Lee
100.
Budgeon, if he won, would have won the group. And if he lost it, he'd have finished bottom. There was no other position he could finish in from that game. It was top or bottom.
We have had some weird
133.
Group Bs over the years, and I think this is
140.
very much going into that bracket.
$60. Steve
So
Car,
West looking at the
132.
champagne finish to get the break of 4 and to take out the opening leg. Jumper 19 leaves the bullseye. That was in the
92.
way, wasn't it? That flight of dart
Joshua
one really
Car,
obscured
80.
the target.
Yeah, we got a really shot. Try again. We got a really good shot of that one. Oh, that's a really good shot from Ross Montgomery. That looked inviting on the tops.
Getting shown
Maybe
the
he just
first
wanted
leg.
the open
Ross
target.
Montgomery.
Maybe it was a switch. Worked out well for Ross Montgomery in the end, and he holds on to
Second
his
leg,
throat.
Steve to throw first. Game on.
All's well but ends well.
Doesn't matter how you get there, as long as you get there.
Somebody's been listening to me all week long.
100.
Well, second leg of the row that Montgomery's got our first dart.
80. $140.
And you have to say that if all 5 players finish on 8 points, you have to have a little bit of sympathy. You'd have a
83.
heart of stone not to have a bit of sympathy for the 2 players that miss out in that particular scenario.
41.
Will be a hard one to take for the players, but they also would have expected this when they saw the lineup come out last Thursday. They'd have looked at that and gone, wow,
41.
we are up against it this week. I'm going to have to be at my absolute best. Any drop-off, it's going to be capitalised on, and that's what we've seen so far throughout this campaign.
100.
And I think sometimes the greatest indicator of the quality of group is how it
99.
flows, and it really has
Steve Car,
flowed this
120.
particular evening's worth of darts. Let's look at the 120. He's already had the 101 tonight,
100.
but he has got time in his hands to square this contest up. And of course, conversely for Steve West, if he can win this game, he has a 2-point lead, and with everybody else pretty much on the same points
58.
haul, then
Steve Car, 20.
that would be a big gap at this stage of proceedings. 2-5, he's had his issues here tonight.
10.
And the
Ross
problems
Car,
magnify on that
140.
particular target for Steve West. And then Montgomery finds this. He'd have the darts for the match. He's got the first of them. But cannot find with dart 2. And I think that little wry smile on the face of
100.
Steve West
Car,
was
10.
almost a acceptation that maybe when the first
Getting
dart
shown
went
the
in,
second
that was
leg,
going to
Steve
go.
West.
But simply the West didn't need a second invitation to the party.
Third leg,
Pins
Ross
the
to
double
throw
5
first.
first time
Game
into
on.
the top corner and squares up at 1-1.
It's always the dream start, that when you've got the advantage of throwing first,
80.
get that first one in the double, have a couple of darts at the score, not just worrying about getting in.
40.
Well, both players have got off first visit in every single leg in this contest so far. 3 legs in, level at 1 apiece here on Pluto TV.
100. $140.
The thing as well for Ross is we spoke about what it could do for Steve West, but when you know how tight the group is, he'll feel like
45.
if he loses this game, it will be seen as a major slip-up.
Absolutely, and he's in a bit of trouble here. Steve West looking at just wrestling the advantage of throw here in the middle part of this leg.
140.
Back-to-back 140s puts him in a strong position. So Montgomery looking to follow in kind. Anything less than a couple of trebles won't be able to leave a finish.
100.
And now Steve West will sense the opportunity.
$95.
Big last start. Nice pick off. Gives him the opportunity of a couple of singles to get a dart out here at the bullseye. Should dart one not find a treble 18, which is where we're expecting him to be starting this combination.
86.
Well, you sense this is a key passage in play. Leg free, both players in situ. West the ball to break.
Getting shot on the
Oh,
third
what a
leg.
dart.
Steve West.
That could be the biggest dart of the night. Because Montgomery was sat on
Both legs seized
36
through
and probably
first.
would have
Game on.
expected to have returned. West finds the ball. He breaks the throw. He leads 2-1 and has the darts now to stretch a lead at the top.
93.
Now the impetus really is on the boss. Away again.
And away with a score this time, finding a treble as well.
120.
Trying to get that advantage of throw straight back here off of Steve West, but Westy sees the finishing line in sight, and he's not one of these players that's going to get nervous when he sees the finishing line. He's a guy that presses on.
$60. $85. $140.
Big score
Civic
that puts West,
143.
who has 6 darts here from 143 to wrap the match up. Can't be done on this occasion.
57.
And he's going to leave himself square on 86 to complete a 3-1 victory. Montgomery trying to leave as much pressure as possible, but this was the finish that West took out on the bullseye in the previous leg to establish a lead.
140.
And it's the finish he's
Civic
looking at now
86.
to get the job done. Is it the bull again? Yes, it is.
Getting shot
Bingo!
on the match, Steve West.
Back-to-back 86 finishes on the bullseye. Ross Montgomery has been left punch drunk there. And that is a big result because that gives Steve West a big advantage going into the second portion of the session. Ross Montgomery taking it like a real sport. Jovially talking about those back-to-back bullseye finishes on the back of back-to-back 86 checkouts. And Steve West now has got full control and full ascendancy of this group. He stops the possibility of every single player being on 6 points at the halfway stage of the night. Ross Montgomery 1, Steve West 3. Half-time analysis to come in the Pluto TV studio on the other side of this short break. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes. Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler! Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Steve West got the better of Ross Montgomery by 3 lengths. And that broke the chain in terms of the night, in terms of players on the left-hand side of the draw bracket winning games. And that's meant that we haven't got that position at the halfway point of the night where every single player is level on points. This is how the table looks going into the second half of the night. Steve West leading the way, 8 points to his name. Now, he's got a big lead. I know it's only 2 points, but when you consider how tight it is, that could be a major advantage. Andreas Harrison, Ted Evetts, Robert Thornton, all on 6, and it's the World Seniors champion. Ross Montgomery's in a bit of trouble on 4 points in the group. Half-time Oranges time now, and we're going to do it in the company of primetime Matthew Edgar. Let's begin with Steve West. Those back-to-back 86s on the bullseye, that could be the big difference between him qualifying and not now.
And that'll make him feel good as well. A bullseye finish is always a nice thing to do, but to do it back-to-back the same way, that's just going to make him feel really good and confident moving into the rest of the night. And I think at the back end of this evening, a little bit of confidence is going to be needed, a little bit of self-belief, because it's easy to find doubt out there tonight. When you look at the league table, you look how that's shaping up, you look at everyone sort of beating everyone. He will have that little bit of the X factor underneath right now, and that is going to be the key in regards to who are going to be those 3 players.
Andreas Harrison, how would you assess the beginning of his night so far?
He'll be
6
happy enough. He's not
after
lost any
9.
ground. He's still in the mix. He's certainly played well, didn't he, in his previous game, and certainly when he had the darts as well. Andreas Harrison he'll just do Andreas Harrison things. And by that I mean it's very steady, and then spike, and then steady, and then spike. And if he could find those spikes a little bit more, we wouldn't be just talking about him winning weeks like this. We'd be talking about him winning Pro Tours. Because when he hits them, I mean, some of the legs there, 12, 13 darts was incredible. So he's an awkward player to play. He's a little bit more methodical. He'll be happy with how things are going at the moment. He'll be fancying this, and by that I mean this tournament.
Ted Evetts, is inconsistency the right word to say about it? Because the good stuff's been good, but then there's been the odd ropey leg, isn't there, in there somewhere or another?
I think you'd use that sort of analogy to describe pretty much all these. So what we've got to try and do, or what the players have got to do, is pick out the good stuff that's going on. And for Ted Evetts, there's been some bits in there. I do think he's on an upwards trajectory at the moment. I think his career's going in the right way. He's had a couple of years where he's had setbacks, but it seems like they're going behind him now, and he's starting to do some good bits. In the quarter-final on the Pro Tour, just at the back end of last year, beat some quality players on the way to that one. So I think this is potentially the last year we see Ted Evetts here at the Super Series. I think he goes back on tour next year. And I think what we're seeing here, we're seeing him tinker. Longer points, different flights. I think what he's trying to do is just fine-tune his game. And this is the time to do it. You're the longest period away from Q School, where ultimately he's going to want to be, and try and get that card back. And I just think that he's doing the right things in the right time of the year.
Is this a mirror image for Robert Thornton tonight? Got off to a really good start and then almost regressed back to type in the second game.
It is, but he'll also be quite confident and bullish in his approach, where he'll probably be saying, well, I've got that big performance in the locker, it's going to come out at any point. I don't think Robert Thornton's the type in this moment now to dwell on those negatives, and you can see that in the standard he's playing this week, because he didn't come here with form line and come here with belief from anywhere but inside, and ultimately the only person who needs to believe it is you. Robert Thornton did.
So let's break from this week now. The Super Series gets back underway on Monday morning. Week 7 will get underway. And I suppose one of the names that's really going to be of interest is in Group C there, Charlie Manby, the record-breaking average in the development tour. And I suppose there's one question split into two in regards to Charlie. Yes, it was a great performance. Some would argue, well, that was just one game. Yes, he's coming in with reputation, but is he also coming with that air of he has to still back this up over a consistent course over 10 games in a group?
Well, they say he's coming with reputation. He's not coming with reputation, coming to build it. Mm-hmm. He's coming to gain a reputation. He's coming here with eyes, a little bit of attention, a little bit of, okay, let's see how he does. Some people probably never seen him throw darts before. So it's like, well, let's have a look at the action, let's look at the technique. Let's see how he handles certain things. But the one thing that big average did, the 130, is it drew intrigue. And from intrigue, now we can try and build a reputation, which is what we're seeing people do here. Remember Adam Paxton last year hit a 9-darter on the ADC, got a call up here, ended up winning a week, played in Champions Week. Where is he now? He's on the PC Pro Tour. So the pathway, the opportunities are there. He's done the right thing. He's got the attention of the selectors. Now let's see how he gets on next week.
We will see that action get underway Monday morning from 9:30. Right, let's move on and have a look at the series so far in the Modus Super Series. Remember, this doesn't count towards Champions Week. This is a week in isolation. And you look at the 6 players that are qualified through. Obviously, you got Jensen Walker, 18 years of age, obviously, a star talent. And you look at the Champions Week as a whole, and I suppose opportunity is probably the word that probably best describes it.
I think if you was to interview all 6 of those players right now and you was to say who's the player to beat, they would all say themselves. I don't think anyone's going to look at that and go, oh, there's a big player there, there's a great white right there. No, they're all going to believe they've got a real opportunity.
Well, that was Jensen Walker winning his week. That was in week 2 of the series. So that action will get back underway at 9:30 a.m. on Monday morning here on Pluto TV. And all eyes and all attentions now are on who's going to make it through to tomorrow night. Now, we know that Steve West is on 8 points, and he's in a very good position now to progress his way through. But for the rest, well, we haven't really got a clue. But you can be here on any given Saturday, and you can have a look at this to find out. And so, that is how you could be here on a Saturday night. Before this next game gets underway, Paul Hinks is playing a new role of table manager here at the Super Series, just sorting out some spillages before the next game gets underway between Ted Evetts and Andreas Harrison, but neither can afford a slip-up here. Both players on 6 points ahead of this 6th meeting of the night. The winner will move on to 8 points in the group alongside Steve West. In fact, the winner, depending on margin of it, will move top of the table. Andreas, if any win, would do that. If Ted can win 3-1 or better, he would also go to the top of the group. We still have absolutely no idea
First. Game on.
how the rest of the night is going to pan out. But Ted, I mentioned it in the studio that
79.
he's looked good at points, but then he's just had this odd leg here and there, which is just letting down at points.
36.
He was good in the last game, wasn't he? Picked up that victory against Ross Montgomery, 86.63. And Ross Montgomery must be wondering what's going on, because it was a bullseye against him on that occasion from Ted Evetts. And now Steve West hit 2 bullseyes against him as well.
100.
You'd be thinking people don't like him around here. Currently sat at bottom of the table, Ross Montgomery on 4 points. Still in the running, still in the mix. But we're starting to see the league table shape and form.
140.
There's not long left. We're in the last quarter now of this Group B
100.
campaign.
Ted Ducal, 142.
3 places still available for Saturday night. Normally by now we know at least one of the places has been filled. Another one of those.
Well, Evetts was looking for another one there, unable to go.
101.
And there's just going to be a slight stoppage in play because there is a slight technical issue here.
100. Ted's last score was 101.
So it's Evetts 0, Harrison 0, and we are midway through the night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Now, there's a stoppage in play which has come at an unideal time for him, particularly Ted Evetts, who was plotting his path down the leg. It is the type of thing which occasionally happens, and for the more experienced campaigners, particularly Andreas, who's been here a few times before, will kind of know what this is all about. Just awaiting everything to get back to normal, and that will happen in a few moments' time. It is an important game. The 2 players are just waiting around to receive further instruction, and the winner of this contest will move on to 8 points in pursuit. Now, you played here, Matt, and you played in the predecessor studio in Southampton, so you know you've been involved in games which may sometimes have a stoppage in play. What do you have to do to make sure that when the play gets back underway that you can get your mind straight back into things?
You just got to control what you can control, don't you? You can't... You can't control the environment right now. Just control what you can do.
Yeah.
We're just having a check of the scoreboard, making sure everything is hunky-dory before we get back underway.
Well, they have to check dart for dart that everything has been inputted into the system correctly, because it's not just here that has to be inputted correctly. There's various other stakeholders in which everything has to be done correctly, whether that be various other people in terms of sending it to statistics, send it through to the odds compilers who then get the feeds, and that's how their odds are based on it for games. So every single dart has to be calculated correctly, has to go into the system correctly, and so sometimes that's why these stoppages in plays happen, just to make sure that everything is then put into place properly. Hello, welcome along to the commentary box. This stoppage in play will be sorted before too long. Not ideal for either player, but I suppose even more so for Ted Evetts, because he was plotting his path towards winning that opening leg.
Well, he can now crack on with trying to plot his way to the winning leg, but that's the issue. You do find that you're just going to pull the dart a little bit low like he did. That's a great recovery there for Ted Evetts. in those situations, as a player, you just think,
Second leg, Andreas to throw first.
I'd like to have
Game
3
on.
darts. I'd like to have 6 darts just to sort of get the flow back again. But I suppose for Ted, there's no damage done. And now, Andreas Harrison,
36.
well, we're back up and running, aren't we?
Well, it's kind of the equivalent, as you know, Matt. I work in another sport where it's a bit like when you have a free kick in football. I mean, you worked in football as well for a time.
60.
It's a bit like having a free kick in football, but the problem you have is there's been a severe stoppage in play, so the game stops. And so when you have that set piece or the game restarts, it sometimes, if it's a long stoppage in play,
100.
takes a little bit of time for the game to flow again.
I love the way you started that with a little bit of mystique. You went, I work in another sport, as if you was going to keep it quiet, and then you went, so it's like a free kick in football.
93.
You didn't really need the mystery part at the beginning, did you? You should have just gone straight in with the, I work in football.
Matt,
85.
you've worked with me long enough and you've heard enough of my stories to know that none of them are ever told normally. Some stories more interesting than others.
Still waiting for the interesting ones.
100. 60. 128.
Well, Evetts has left himself on 120 to get the break of foe and to open up a 2-0 lead in this game. Playing really well here is Ted, averaging 98.
140. Tedukar 120.
Well, there's the treble. He's got the hard bit out of the way with. And now it's tops.
80. Andreas Tedukar 80.
Well, Andreas Harrison won't have the problem with the angle of entry here, will he? As he gets closer and closer to tops, it's going to be a wide open target still. The dart
Game
out
shot
the
on the
way.
second leg. Andreas
Nice
Harrison.
find there from Andreas Harrison. Keeps his hopes
Third leg, Ted to throw
truly alive
first.
here.
Game on.
Getting to that point where I don't like to do it, because every game you feel like you're going, oh, this is a big game, this is an important game. But
60.
for this group, it actually is. Every game's going to have a high level of importance on it, because the table is tighter than we've ever seen.
45.
Well, sometimes we can be found guilty a little bit of hyperbole here at the Super Series. But actually, every single game has an equal weight of significance because of the tightness of it.
97. 140. 58. 60. 100. 85.
'Well, who's going to put their foot on the gas here?
$130.
Evetts leaving himself on 56 to open up a 2-1 lead.
41. Tedukar 56.
Double top.
16. Andreas Tedukar 130.
Harrison 130.
58. Third car 40.
Tops.
Getting shot on the third leg, Ted Evetts.
2-1 to Ted Evetts.
Fourth leg, Andreas to throw first. Game on.
Now compose yourself, young Ted. Harrison away.
97.
Second dart of leg 4.
No score. One of the 80. $60. $140.
Harrison leaving himself at 84 after 9 darts to take us all the way to a last leg decider.
57. Andreas, your car 84.
Yeah, got the opportunity to go the way he wants there. Doesn't need to
44.
be chasing the bullseye down. Ted Evetts a long, long way back. Sort of just feels like when, doesn't it? Rather than if. Andreas Harrison takes us to a deciding
60.
leg.
Andreas, your car
Ted Evetts
40.
would have the throw in that one.
Getting shot on the fourth leg, Andreas
Well,
Harrison.
that's a 13 darter for Andreas Harrison. 2-2.
With the final leg, Ted
When
to
you look
throw
at the
first.
score lines
Game
tonight
on.
as well, it's all been quite tight, hasn't it? A lot of 3-2, 3-1s. There's not one 3-0. And when the players came in and there was only separated by 5 legs.
51. $100.
Plays off dart 2 and leg 5. And remember, the winner will move on to 8
100.
point level with Steve West on points at the top. Andreas will go top on legs difference if he wins this particular leg. Ted Evetts will take
60.
position P2.
Little shuffle over there just to try and open it up. That's what he was trying to avoid, clattering into the dart.
118.
And once the possibility of leaving the shot on was gone, down to the open target. Good sensible play there by Ted. But this is quality play by Andreas Harrison. What a time to hit a maximum. Gets himself down to a finish first and asks Ted Evetts a question.
We know timing is one of his key fortes. Should be heading down for the 25 here.
90.
Even better, picks
Andreas
up the
Urquhart,
bullseye.
161.
You'd feel Andreas Harrison's in the advantage position here.
57.
Doesn't make the most of it
Ted
though.
Urquhart,
Just chips
142.
away, shaves a bit off the score.
Well, this would be some way to close it off, but the 142 isn't going to go.
62. Andreas Urquhart,
He's himself in a
104.
detailed enough suit. We should have a dart at a dart, but if Harrison doesn't take out this 104 to win it, but he's going to get a dart. The double 16.
72.
And that would
Ted
have been to wrap
Urquhart,
the match
80.
up. And actually, by virtue of the finish that Ted's on, he may only get 1 dart himself to wrap it up. And here's just going to be the solitary. Dart at double top. Shuffles across. Doesn't like the lie. You can see it in his facial expression.
60.
Cannot find a way through.
Andreas
And
Urquhart,
that could be the
32.
meagre margins. Evetts missed a chance to move on to 8.
Game
Harrison
showing the match,
won't.
Andreas.
And the Super Swede will move on to 8 points and move to the top. How quickly things can change in this strange group. Coming up after the break, Ross Montgomery up against Robert Thornton.
Charlie McGuire, 164. 44. 32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that situation there, George Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go!
Couldn't get the job
Yes!
done.
Got in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where before the break, Andreas Harrison got the better of Ted Evetts by 3 legs to 2. Ross Montgomery and Robert Thornton is our next game here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Well, Robert Thornton with victory in his opening game of the night, played really well against Ted Evetts. And then lost out with an average around about 25 points below that against Andreas Harrison. Vice was Montgomery still searching for that first win, despite a couple of good performances. 88 and 89 the averages in his 2 games this evening. But this battle of 2
First
World
leg, Ross
Seniors
to throw
champions,
first.
2 players that
Game on.
need to find a win. Matthew Edgar.
Yeah, Ross Montgomery. This is sort of the time where if he's going to make life any easier for himself, he's going to need to find something here.
45.
Opportunity starting to slip away. If he doesn't win this game, then you start going, well, he needs results and maybe can squeeze a 3rd place.
2 players you sense that
105.
need to find a second wind.
140. $41. $81.
Thornton pushing and probing.
123.
Both players getting away in the first visit in this opening leg of the contest. And actually, the bookies may have got this bang on because they're actually the two outsiders at the outset of tonight's session.
31.
Looking to fill it up.
140.
Didn't fill it up, but what he has done, he's got himself down to strike first in this match. An opportunity to break the throw of Ross Montgomery, who hasn't had too much go his own way tonight, has he?
54.
Ross
Robert
Montgomery.
Lucar, 92.
It's those couple of bullseye finishes by Steve West that would have rocked him the most. You always think when your
74.
opponent's going for a dart
Ross
with the
Lucar,
ball, it's not one of those sort of
150.
50-50 shots. You think it's a lot lower. And when you see it happen twice, can be a little bit disheartening.
90.
Even when you
Robert
are
Lucar,
riding the
18.
crest of a wave like Ross Montgomery is.
Well, in some senses, when you win something big and then suddenly something doesn't go right, then
Getting shown the
suddenly
first leg, Robert
that
Thornton.
crest of the wave you're on, you suddenly then hit yourself back down to reality.
Second leg,
Thornton
Robert the
breaks
third first. Game
to
on.
lead 1-0 with a break. And Thornton straight off at the beginning of leg 2.
117.
Legs, he's done that now.
No score. $100. $60.
Well, he's in. Thornton in no mood to wait around.
140. $60. Robert Lucar, 144. $76. $100. Robert Lucar, 68.
Thornton looking at 68 for a 2-0 lead in this match. Oh, frustration there with dart 2.
Well, dart 1 as well.
28.
Two wayward darts, not able to keep him straight within the corridors of which he was trying to play in net. Does get round to his favourite double tops in the end.
60. Robert Lucar, 40. $20.
Well, Thornton missing opportunities, but he's being allowed to miss the opportunities because Montgomery is a long way back.
140. Robert Lucar, 20. Getting shown the second leg.
Eventually the
Robert
double
Thornton.
10 goes, and Thornton showing the way and paving the way to a 2-0
Third leg, Ross
lead.
to third first. Game on.
Presents it as if to say, where have you been? This is the Ross Montgomery of last night, wasn't it?
160.
The one starting strong at the beginning of legs.
120.
Thornton off first start every single leg in this contest.
123. $41. $58. $134. Rossakar 160.
Well, Montgomery's got 6 darts here for 160 to get a leg back. And it would force the issue of Thornton to serve it out in the next.
100.
Ton leaves him on 60.
$94. Rossakar 60.
So this to bring it back to 2-1. Well, at least he's got an open target.
Game shot on the third
Cheeky
leg.
double-double for
Montgomery.
14 darter, back to 2-1.
Fourth leg Robert to throw first. Game on.
Still a long way to go here, though, for Ross Montgomery, especially now Thornton in. That would be Ross Montgomery's hope there that Robert
160.
Thornton didn't get in cleanly, and he's got off with the perfect start. Every one of these misses now just amplified. Just makes the chase.
No score. $54.
Well,
103.
Montgomery away eventually and getting away well enough just to pose a few questions of the form.
100. $100. $95.
Time on the side now for Robert Thornton.
85. Robert Car 92.
For a much needed win that would start to make him believe that he's going to be here tomorrow night.
52.
Places are going to fill up very quick over the next couple of games. Tickets will be booked.
And for the Fawn, he can see potentially of a win here.
61.
The Saturday
Robert
night
Carr,
finishing line in
40.
sight. It's double top. 2 10s.
Game shot on the
Thornton
match.
wins
Robert
and he
Thornton.
wins 3-1. And so the situation here is fairly simple. A win for Steve West and the next one against Ted Evetts. We'll know the full lineup of players that will be through, and that game's coming up next. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes. Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Lewandowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000. The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Littler!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. Now, let's do some permutations now, shall we? Because this is game 8 of the session between Steve West and Tedward Evetts. And if Steve West wins this game, then Steve will head through and he will be taking Andreas Harrison and Robert Thornton alongside him, because Ted will play his last game. He'd be stuck on 6, and Ross Montgomery with a game to go can only get to 6 himself. So that's some simple maths as we just pass the midnight hour into Saturday. And a meeting between Ted and Steve to get us going here on this Saturday at the Live Lounge.
Well, we did say they're all here to battle for a place on Saturday. There you go. They've made it. Playing darts on a Saturday.
I suppose that pedantic comment was deserved. Right, let's get into this one then. It's Evetts against West. The pair completing their final practice darts before we get underway.
First leg, Steve to throw first. Game on.
And for Ted, well, it's now or never as far as he's concerned. If he doesn't take out
120.
the win in this game, then he is out of the equation. Evetts off first star.
120. 62. 60. 99. 140. 40. 130.
Well, Evetts has put himself in a great suit here to break the foe, leaving himself on a single to double combo after just 12 darts
45.
in this leg.
Tedricar,
Steve West
51.
unable to locate his radar at this present moment in time. And so Evetts, a decent first leg for himself. Can he pick apart the break he needs at some point in the match?
35.
2 opportunities
Steve
to do
Car,
exactly that have gone a
135.
begging. And so West, 135. That wry smile is because he's got to try and traverse his way around the bullseye. And that would have been his best dart of the night if he found that.
Tedricar,
He's found a few
16.
bullseyes, and that might be where the smile was coming from, thinking, here we go again.
Getting shown on the first leg, Ted Evetts.
Well, that could halt proceedings
Second
a
leg,
little
Ted,
bit
you throw
once again,
first.
couldn't it? Ted Evetts breaks the throw of Steve West in the opening
Game on.
leg. One thing Ted Evetts has not been able to do so far is just sort of go through and pick up one of those big solid wins where, you know, legs are going to come a factor here. That's pretty much a certainty now. Legs are going to decide something.
16.
But he has also got this fact that the games that he's lost tight, so he's actually not done too much damage in terms of legs difference. If he wins this game,
No score.
he'd be 8 points plus 2. And because Thornton's on -1, it would force the Thornton to hammer Steve West in the last game of the night to leapfrog him. And in fact, because West and Thornton were playing the
40.
last game of the night, if Evetts could win this game by a margin, then he'd be
No score.
good enough as through.
$180.
Well, Evetts with that maximum.
$50.
Well, Steve West has done something which he can do, but he's never seldom seen. And that is start the leg on a bullseye. It's double 25.
Well, he's finished a few legs tonight on the bullseye. Why not start one?
59.
And you could see everyone with a little bit of a wry smile about the situation. And that's what Steve's on about, isn't it, when he says where
60.
his game is at the moment and he just wants to enjoy his darts. That's the sort of stuff he's talking about, them sort of moments.
$100. $140.
So
Technical
Evetts 6 starts on
106.
106 to open up a 2-love lead in this game. He's got plenty of time.
74.
Taking it out with the first 3 would have been a real morale boost. And what you don't want to do is give someone of this caliber and capability any kind of sniff, any kind of squeak in a leg.
Technical 32.
And that 140 just leaves himself in situ if there is some misses here. Two 8s, and that's awkward because of the flight. That's
Getting
a
shot on
good
the
dart.
second leg,
That's a
Ted
really
Evetts.
good dart.
In control.
Third leg Steve to throw first. Game on.
But you know, Steve West is going to come back hard.
No score. $45.
Well, that eliminates the throw again for Steve West. Almost like he's
$105.
been against the darts in every one so far.
$83. $43. $137.
If
$45.
Evetts wins this game, then he will make it through, and then suddenly West and Thornton will be made to sweat out in the last save. What would also mean as well is Andreas Harrison is safe. In fact, Harrison's safe regardless of what happens, so he's through now.
100.
Because West plays Thornton, his 8 and +4 will be
90.
insurmountable.
Technical
So Evetts
136.
has sent himself through and to effectively make West and Thornton a shootout.
96.
He's left himself tops. For Steve West, it's the worst possible time to put in a performance like this,
140
and
to
he
the count,
decided with
40.
the game probably up, he would attempt a blind 180. But it's
Game
been
showing
solid
match,
brilliance
Evetts.
from Ted Evetts, and it's he who makes it through to Saturday night. At times, it was a bit of a chore for Super Ted, but he'd be happy enough that he secured his passage through. He's not overly pleased, you can see that on his face. But he'll be facing the music of Saturday night here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. He has beaten Steve West by 3-0. Andreas Harrison's also through. We're going to see him. He's going to complete the set tomorrow. He takes on Ross Montgomery.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie require 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least 2 handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a 2-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
require
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last 2 darts. But he'll be coming back.
It's a moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
require
he's gone to
180.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that
Charlie
situation there, George
require
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
require
body into that
8.
one. Just didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go
Couldn't get the
gets
job
it.
done.
Got out the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Live Lounge here in Portsmouth for the Modus Super Series, where we're into game 9 of 10. And this is a dead rubber between Ross Montgomery and Andreas Harrison. Andreas will safely head through to the bright lights and the shine of Saturday night of the Super Series here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. As for Ross Montgomery, the World Seniors Champion, well, he will be departing us once this tournament comes to a close. Our final game, just to mark your
First leg,
cards,
Andreas to through
is
first.
a shootout match
Game on.
between Steve West and Robert Thornton. And do you remember we were talking earlier about the scenario involving Lee Budgeon and Fallon Shet? Now, it's not quite to the extremities of that, but
No
if Ross
score.
Montgomery wins this game, Steve West and Robert Thornton will be a meeting between a player that will either A, win the group, or B, get knocked out.
No score.
It's exciting, isn't it, when it's like this? It's great for us. I'm sure the players are hating this sort of scenario where there's still quite a lot to play for, nothing really
96.
certain. Still plenty of tickets available, isn't there, for Saturday night on the playing side of things? Not so many in the audience.
80.
Nope. And Matt, this is how you can be here tomorrow night. What do our adorning public need to do?
140.
Well, they can get out their device and scan the QR code.
And where does the QR code take you to?
60.
The ticket website. It'd be a pretty bad link, wouldn't it, if it didn't take you to the ticket website, Henry?
www.dartshot.tv where it'd be £5 to get your tickets to Saturday night's final.
It's not going to take to Alton Towers or something, is it?
I really should have thought that through, shouldn't I?
100. $140.
In short, scan that and you can get some tickets.
There you go, that's your drum sales up.
100. Andreas
Andreas
67.
looking at 67 to take out the opening leg of the contest. Was looking at treble 9 to leave himself tops. He's going to end up there anyway.
27.
Unable to get it.
Joshua Carr 161.
Oh, hang on. It's not happened for Ross Montgomery, has it, this evening?
83. Andreas Carr 40.
Probably been a bit of a whirlwind since picking up the Seniors World Championship a couple of weeks ago.
Getting shot in the first leg, Andreas Harrison.
But he's not going to be playing any
Second leg,
further
Ross
part
to through
here
first,
at the Super
game on.
Series.
No score. $80. $120. $60. $140. $60. $100. $85. Joshua Carr 141.
141 for Ross. He's got 6 darts from here to level up at 1 apiece. Down for treble 19. Double 12.
126.
I promise you double 12 was the intended target.
I think that just sums his night up, doesn't it, really? And I think that's the reaction you get in there from Ross Montgomery.
140. Joshua Carr 15.
7 leaves, double 4.
Game shot in the
That
second
leads us
leg, Ross
back level at 1
Montgomery.
apiece.
Third leg, Andreas to throw first. Game on. $40. No score.
Well, Montgomery unable to get off there. It's given Andreas a bit of a margin to manoeuvre on throwing this leg.
84.
What kind of achievement would it be? Because you're not going to be with us tomorrow night, Matt. If Andreas became the first ever player to complete the set with a weekly title, series title, special week title.
160.
I think Andreas Harrison's just one of those sort of people that doesn't really think those sort of things through. He's not like most of us. He just sort of
140.
point me in the direction on the dartboard and I'll throw the best I can. That's sort of what you get from Andreas Harrison. It's not one of these that you think has these big sort
60.
of designs and plans and thought out processes. We know he wants to go a tour card. That's something he speaks about. That's something he's quite keen on.
140.
And you feel like it's going to happen at some point for him. Certainly as the levels just keep going up for Andreas Harrison.
81.
Year on year,
Andreas
just getting better and better.
97.
Become more and more of a danger.
Double 14.
Getting
2-1
shown the
Harrison,
third leg.
14
Andreas
darter.
Harrison. 4-5 Rossi through first. Game on.
Harrison with a 2-1 advantage in this game. 15 darter, sorry.
No score. $65. $60. $125.
Easy now, Voss.
22.
This one may be coming up to its conclusion.
And then that leads us to the big one, the game that will
81.
decide who the final player through will be. We know Andreas Harrison and we know Ted Evetts will be there. One of Thornton and West will join them.
59.
And actually, winning this game would guarantee that Andreas Harrison wins the group as well. And it would guarantee that Ted Evetts would be in position 3 regardless of
100.
the outcome of the final match. And so the winner would be in position 2. And Ted would play Andreas actually against the darts in the first game tomorrow night.
140. And
So
there's the
this
car 130.
for the match. And he's got plenty of time from this 130.
It's a
83.
good last pick off there from Andreas Harrison. Leaves it nice and simple. Just single to double. To end with a win. And
81.
Neil Duff told us
Andreas your car
these
47.
are important. You want to win every game you play.
It's double top. Double 10.
27.
Andreas Harrison hasn't
Russell
signed
car
off as of yet.
139.
And so Montgomery will come back looking at 139 to take us all the way to a last leg decider.
$32.
Two
Andreas your
tens
car 20.
to wrap it up. Up for double 5.
Getting
In the
shown in
double
match,
5.
Andreas Harrison.
And Andreas Harrison has guaranteed that he is going to be the Group B winner. A 3-1 victory against Ross Montgomery rounds up his campaign. One final game to go, and it's a knockout match. The winner of Thornton and West will be player 6 in 2 tomorrow night's final. Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then. Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy time. So receive the trophy. £25,000.
The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen. And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison. And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison.
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor?
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion, retaining his title, the Nuke, Luke Ledlow!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series, where this is a straight shootout between Robert Thornton and Steve West. And this is how the table looks going into that match. Harrison through, Evetts through, one of West and Thornton will join them in a few moments' time. And, well, I suppose it was always going to get to a fact that the final game was going to have some significance of it. We didn't quite know what the permutations would be on it, but I suppose this is the simplest one you can get. Winner goes through, winner stays on, winner makes it into Saturday night's final. The loser will end their passage here. They will head for home, and their double trouble campaign will come to a juddering halt. For Steve West, the midway point of the night, he looked like the one that was in firm
First leg,
control,
Roberts is
because he
through
was the
first.
one that was able to
Game on.
separate himself from the rat race. He was able to move on to 8 points first. But losing his previous game has meant that he's left himself in a lurch. Ted Evetts made pay to him last time
No
out.
score.
But this is the game, Matthew Edgar.
And Robert will be probably a bit frustrated to be in this sort of position, only because
No score.
both nights we've said start strong is important. Starting strong is the key. And on both occasions, Robert Thornton starting very strong. 108 yesterday,
36.
98 today in the opening game. And then he still found himself in this position where he's in a must-win match against one of the most successful players here at the Super Series in Steve West.
100.
And perhaps not surprised, is a little bit nervy with the opening exchanges. 6 darts and 5 darts respectively to get legs up and running for the pair.
140. Chisholm. 180.
Well, no mistaking that for a Max.
$99. 93.
Just lifted the shoulder on that dart.
54. See the car,
There's a
128.
little sign there of the tension when things in the action start to change.
63. 129.
Slip for
See
the
car,
last. And if
65.
he comes back, it may mean, well, it does mean he's going to have to spurn a dart. But West,
Getting shown the
45
first
for
leg,
20,
Steve West.
and he gets the breaker throw. First blood, Steve West, and this must win
Second leg,
match.
Steve
And the
to throw
defending
first.
champion,
Game
Robert
on.
Thornton, finds himself a breakdown in this must-win contest.
Textbook from West, gets the breaker throw,
80.
straight in with the opening dart. Forces this to be a scoring visit really for Robert Thornton, not just getting in.
43. 134. 180.
Well, the opening leg, Steve West against the darts found a maximum. That gave him the shot, that gave him the chances. And now, Robert Thornton joining the party.
140.
This is a quality game, this. When there's this much riding on it as well, this just shows two experienced campaigners with glittering
100.
CVs.
Supercar 147.
And he could have excused them for feeling a little bit edgy in this game, but particularly Steve West has come out all guns are blazing.
95.
Left himself on 52 after 12 to double his lead. And to put himself a leg away from
60. Supercar 52.
sending the defending champion home. And it means that Neil Duff will be the only former champion into the finals field on Saturday. It's double 10.
32.
It's a graze
Robert
of the
Car
wire away.
118.
These are the shots that turn games. Double 19.
Game show on the second leg, Robert Thornton.
Well, if they're the shots that turn games, is at the
Third
moment
leg,
this
Robert
one
to throw
turns in the
first.
favour of
Game
Robert
on.
Thornton. Steve West shaking his head, knows he's got to re-break the throw once again.
Missing a couple of
160.
darts to go 2-0 up, and Robert Thornton has kicked off perfectly at the beginning of leg 3.
No score.
And West cannot get off the mark.
$100.
West away, but he has to score big as well as getting the double, you feel.
120.
It's okay, but Thornton still has a lot of room to manoeuvre.
$100.
Just got a steely aggression, hasn't he, at the moment, Robert Thornton.
55. Robert the Car
1-0 down, broke the throw
141.
straight back. Now looking to put himself a leg away. That's how quick it turns in this sort of format.
94.
Yeah, he's going to come back here for 47 to put himself a leg
140.
away from the match and a
Robert
leg
Car
away for
47.
putting himself into the finals once again, the defending champion.
Game show on the third leg, Robert
Well, you
Thornton.
said that 118 could turn the screw. Thornton got that to get level, and
Fourth
now he
leg,
gets
Steve
his
to throw
nose in front
first.
for the
Game
first
on.
time. Steve West has it all to do.
$105.
But we know Steve West won't give up without a fight.
Thornton just keeps finding that tops for the opening dart as well, and confidence
80.
build up. Not being brought into drama. Both players averaging around the 90. So not
43.
really much to separate the two, but there could be some separation here if Robert Thornton can find a couple more of those. Oh, it's inviting.
180.
Well, now Steve West's got to fill it all up.
$140.
140 keeps himself in it, but your Saints Thornton just has a slender advantage if he can follow up.
91.
Big last start. What has West got by way of response? If he can find another, he would have been the
100.
clear favourite. He's
Go
a
to the car,
slender favourite right
150.
now. Thornton isn't going to do it in sumptuous style, but what he would give for a treble.
60. Supercar 113.
He's left himself on a two-darter, but West to take us all the way. He's not going to get a dart. The defending
97.
champion has an
Robert
opportunity to send
90.
himself through at the expense of Steve West. And the irony is, it's the bullseye. It's the
Game shot in the
bullseye
match,
for
Robert
the
Thornton.
defending champion to make it through. He did so by the skin of his teeth. It was that target which gave Steve West the opportunity to put himself in a good position. He's had a couple of them in his game against Ross Montgomery, but it's that perfect ball there which has sent Robert Thornton into the finals. And when you consider the game of such propriety and magnitude, the numbers are representative of a quality contest despite the edginess and the nerves that would have been felt by both players. Robert Thornton, a 3-1 winner against Steve West, and he makes it through. The defending champion is going to have an opportunity of doing exactly that to his crown. Both him and Neil Duff will be there, the two former champions before. Andreas Harrison and Ted Evetts will also make it through at the expense of Steve West and Ross Montgomery. We're going to take a short break, and when we return, there'll be reaction and analysis here from the Live Lounge in Portsmouth on Pluto TV.
$54. Charlie McGuire, 164. $44. $32. Charlie required 120.
Well, 120. He's got a fair, at least two handfuls at this. Just needs to stay
60.
there. That's a good shot. Halves his score. Leaves himself on a two-darter.
$26. Charlie
Time on his
required
side
60.
to become back-to-back singles champion.
$40.
Definitely a couple of nerves in those last two darts. But he'll be coming back.
The moment he's been in before this situation. Standing at the back of the
81.
stage,
Charlie
approaching the
required
Oki with a
20.
chance to win the title.
He did this to win the first title, if you remember.
11.
I think he's gone.
Georgia
I think
required
he's gone to
118.
bust it, maybe. The first title he won, he wanted 20. He went 6-7-7 to win it. He had a chance to replicate it again.
Yeah, I get the feeling that was for a bust, and
39.
on that
Charlie
situation there, George
required
Scaife wasn't even
9.
able to take it out going to the 18s on that switch.
Yeah, I think he just panicked a bit, but he's done well to get that big one.
Sometimes can be the hardest part.
Georgia requires
This is it.
79.
It's got to be 19s. It's got to be 19s for this shot. Big 20 and a double. He's got the first one. He's going to get a match dart here.
$59. Charlie
Threw the entire
required
body into that
8.
one. didn't want to let go of the dart.
No score.
He's given George a chance.
Georgia require 20.
I think George has been quite good on double 10 today.
So many opportunities for Charlie Murphy.
Go,
Couldn't get the
gets
job
it.
done.
Got in the match! And the Red Dragon
George
Modus
Scaife.
Super Series Influencers Champion, George Scaife!
Welcome back to the Modus Super Series. And before the break, Robert Thornton won a winner-takes-all match against Steve West by 3 legs to 1 to book his place through. Elsewhere, Ted Evetts has booked his place into Saturday night's final, as to Andreas Harrison as the winner of the group. We can confirm that now by having a look at the league standings. Overnight, remember, every single player had 4 points to their name. Andreas and Robert both winning 3 of their 4 games. Ted Evetts, that couple of wins, but with a good legs difference, was enough to send him through at the expense of Steve West, who, as I say, lost that winner-takes-all match against Robert Thornton, who joins myself here in the studio now. Robert, many congratulations, but I can imagine you would have liked it to have been a little bit more simpler than just a one-off knockout match.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I played Steve in that last one, and he's like a brother to me, and I don't like playing that. But it was one of them groups. It was hard to call.
Overnight, everybody on 4 points. Is the psyche just a little bit different compared to a group where you've got somebody that's kind of like a clear favourite, somebody just cut adrift? Does it feel like a one-night group thing?
No, because I come into the day thinking, well, if I win 2 or 3, I've got a good chance of going through. And it just so happened that's the way it worked.
3 wins on the night, and it felt like one of the keys to your success was getting off very quickly. There was a lot of legs tonight where if it wasn't first dart, it was dart 2, dart 3. You're getting away first visit a lot of the time.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I mean, my starting doubles were pretty good, but my finishing doubles weren't great, but I gave myself enough time to get on and get it done.
And just like last night, you kicked off brilliantly, that 98 average in match 1. Then you lost the second game. And at that point, because again, everybody was pretty much on the same point, so you're thinking, oh no, don't let this slip.
No, I think I felt a little bit too comfortable after the first game last night, and it was the same again tonight. I absolutely felt brilliant up there playing, and I kind of took my foot off the pedal a little bit, and I thought, right, come on, you need to put it back on and try and start winning some games.
Can you almost start too well if you get one coming from?
Yeah, sometimes you can. I mean, there's times that you can start bad but finish well, and other times you can start really well and no finish very good as I did last night. And I just thought to myself when I got up this morning, right, come on, it's all to play for. We're all on 4 points. Nobody's got it through yet.
Do you want to have a look at the 90 back?
Well, if you wanna.
I'm going to be honest. You didn't really have an answer to that. We're going to anyway. This is it here to get the better of Steve. And did you feel like this is it? One dart is probably all I'm going to get.
It was weird because I moved across the hockey a little bit to the left, and usually when I've left the ball, I move back. And I thought, no, I'm just going to stay there. I've got a nice line, so, and then it went in.
Well, let's have a look at the tournament bracket. You can see who you're joining in the finals and how the groups are also going to break down. You're going to get an exclusive first look. So this is the tournament bracket. Leonard Gates won Group A on Wednesday afternoon. This afternoon, Neil Duff won Group C. Steve Beaton got through by averages and 0.7 on the averages as well. And this is how the group has finished up here in Group B. Andreas Harrison has won it, and these are the 2 groups that have been played tomorrow night. Leonard Gates and Steve Beaton for yourself. It's a Group A reunion for you boys.
Well, it is what it is, but they'll need to start hitting doubles. So will I.
When you look at that lineup, and you've been here a lot, Robert. You've
thanks.
you've played in a lot of Saturday nights.
Yeah, I've played in a few.
When you look at lineups in terms of 6 players, is this the toughest one you've played in yet?
Yeah, it's been absolutely mental this week, and you look at the calibre of players and that, and it's what can I say? It speaks for itself.
Defending champion, how much would you like to do the two-peat?
Oh, I'd love to do it, but it's going to take some hard work. Man, I'm up for the task anyway.
We were speaking earlier on in the week in another interview about that fire, that hunger really being back in the belly. Will this be a real springboard for the season ahead if you can win tomorrow?
Definitely. I mean, whether I win or lose tomorrow, it's going to be a springboard anyway. I've got the fire and the hunger back, and I want to get back playing.
Robert, many congratulations. Thank you for popping up.
Henry, you're very welcome.
Right, we shall see you tomorrow night for another Saturday night interview. Lucky you.
Right.
Right, thank you for your company. Plenty coming up on Pluto TV. Coming up after we're done, the latest edition of the Tungsten Talk series features Bo Greaves, the three-time world champion. And she's going to be playing Pro Tour action, actually, next week as well. That was announced earlier on today. That's going to be coming up on the other side of this short break. Then we're going to be back with the live darts from 7:30 tomorrow evening to see who is going to reign supreme at Double Trouble 3. Robert saying it is him. It's going to be he who is going to reign again. But the other champion, Neil Duff, is in the field as well. You got Steve Beaton in there, Leonard Gates in there. It's going to be some night. So why don't you join us from 7:30 here on Pluto TV? Well, overnight, we had no clue who was going to make it through Group B. Every single player on 4 points. But it's the Thorn, it's Ted Evetts, and it is Andreas Harrison who are through to tomorrow's final. Bye from us.
What a finish! What a man!
The drum roll finishes, and the target is
Finals night, and it's a
Andreas Dirty Harrison! Van Velzen!
Are you ready to lift that trophy, Darius?
Yes.
Let's do it then.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series 9 champion is Lucky D, Darius Labanowski!
Well, what a wonderful night of darts we have seen, and we are ready. Our champion is ready, and it's trophy. So receiving the trophy. £25,000.
The new Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen! And one more time, the 8th Modus Super Series champion, the Terminator, Marvin Van Velzen! And the new Modus Super Series champion is Andreas Dirty Harrison! And one more time, the 7th Modus Super Series champion. Give it up for Andreas Dirty Harrison!
The moment we've all been waiting for. Would you please show your appreciation for your Series 6 Modus Super Series champion, Scott Taylor!
One more time, your new Modus Super Series champion. He is Chucky. He is Jim McEwen.
Ladies and gentlemen, your Modus Super Series champion
Maximum.